Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why us foreigners struggle out here in Mexico. Yeah, that's right. I said us because it's me included. What, you think I'm infallible and then nothing happens to me out here and I don't miss anything? No, of course. There's a lot of things out here that I miss from back home, and there's a lot of things that, again, for whatever reason, are a struggle for me, just like they are for you and a lot of people out there. In fact, some people struggle so much out here that they just end up going back home. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because it depends on who you are. Well, depends on, what kind of struggles you're going to have out here, and whether or not you're going to be able to make it out here or not. Now, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to all the new patrons, all the new members, all the new contributors, subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, share. You already know the deal. All right, guys, let's get started. So the main reason, because there's a lot of reasons. I got reasons here, okay? I got a list. Notes, all right?
Bruh.
And the main reason is that people just don't learn Spanish. They choose to not learn Spanish, or they don't embrace learning Spanish. Now listen, you're moving to another country, and if you don't already know Spanish, then you better learn Spanish. It's like anything else. If you move, no matter where you move, you got to learn certain things in order to really be able to acclimate better to wherever you're moving to. It doesn't matter if it's another country or another state or whatever. Now, of course, moving to another country complicates things in which you have to learn another language. Okay? Some people, this barrier is so much to overcome that they just end up moving to a country that is already English speaking. Therefore, eliminating this situation and making it a lot easier for them to transition. Okay, what English speaking countries are out there that you can move to? I don't know. Do some research on YouTube after you watch this video, of course. But learning the language, in this case Spanish, because we're talking about Mexico, and this is the reality of it. Unfortunately, for some people it's easier to pick the language up than others. For some people like me, I already knew Spanish. Maybe you already know Spanish, making the transition a lot easier. But if you do not know any Spanish and it's hard for you to pick up a language, or hard for you to learn a language, or you don't want to really learn the language, then you're going to really struggle out here. Or any country. Again, you move to Vietnam and you don't want to learn Vietnamese, you're probably going to struggle most of the places you're going to be in. Again, not everywhere, but this is the reality of it. So learn Spanish. All right, I'm not going to harp too much on this any further. I already know that it's a struggle for a lot of you guys, and it's a factor. It's a factor whether you're going to move out here or not, or stay out here or not. Now, moving on to the next thing, it's not just learning the language, but learning the culture. Again, in this case, we're talking about Mexico, so they got certain culture and certain different things that are just different. I myself, I'm American from the US of A, but my parents are Cuban. Now I'm Cuban, so I'm basically a Cuban American, first generation in the USA. But I live in Mexico now, and when I came out here, there was a lot of customs that were just very different, and a lot of them that were the same. A lot of American customs that they have out here, a lot of American things that they have, a lot of things that are very Americanized. And again, we are living in America. Mexico is North America, so to me, it was surprising how similar a lot of things were, but very surprising how similar things were. I mean, again, I was like, in a lot of places, I feel like I'm in the USA, honestly, and that's just the truth. And we'll be talking about that in a separate video as to how similar the USA is to Mexico and vice versa. But anywho's, that whole idea of the fact that, hey, wrapping your mind around that, wrapping your head around that, like that whole idea that it's very similar. Then on top of that, it's very different. The difference is, that came just from the fact that it's a very Catholic, very conservative out here. No matter how liberal you might be, no matter how liberal of an area you might be in, still very conservative because of the religious aspect, the custom, just so many other things that don't even have to do with religion, because they might not be religious. There are Mexicans that aren't religious, believe it or not. But they still, uphold, certain traditions and customs, which again, it's very different. And then I can go on and on, like the family values, those are like the traditions and other traditions, but as I was saying, a lot of people don't embrace these things. They are just don't understand or don't like it. Or some people totally embrace it and they totally love it. And so the harder it is for you to embrace the culture, the customs, So for example, the Mexican people are very happy. They love to mess around a lot and play jokes and all this other stuff. And a lot of people, they get misunderstandings and they think, oh, they're being racist towards me. Oh, they don't like me. Oh, why are they messing with the gringo or the foreigner? And I can go on and on. But the reality is like this, okay? And I've learned this from being here just about 5 years already. If they don't like you, they don't like you. And they're not going to talk to you, and that's where it ends, all right? And they're not going to really communicate with you, or you'll know they don't like you. Now, if they are laughing with you, if they're playing jokes with you, they might tell you, hey, gringo, hey, try this hot sauce. No spicy, no spicy. You already know it's going to be spicy when you eat it and you're like, oh my God, it's so spicy. And they're laughing with you, even though they're laughing at you. But again, you do something kind of similar to them and they'll take it as a joke, and again, that's how you kind of mingle. That's one of the ways, okay? That's one of the ways because again, they don't take anything too seriously, all right? They don't take life too seriously. They don't take many things too seriously, and they enjoy life. And again, it's a different custom and just different. It's not for everybody. For me, from my background, where I come from, the way I was raised, it's awesome. I love it. I love the way things are out here. In fact, I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but we're in December right now, and very recently the neighbors, a few of them came up to the house, and I don't know what it was. There was a bunch of neighbors, they just came to my house and wanted to talk to me and Christian, and I was a little nervous coming from the USA. That's not normally a good sign. And then all of a sudden they were just like, hey, we're throwing a giant block party, a Christmas block party, a traditional posada. Would you guys be interested in joining and being part of the whole block party? And we were like, hells yeah. We were so happy and so, enthralled by all that. And by the way, I'm not going to be filming any of that. I'm not going to be, doing any of that because, believe it or not, you guys don't really watch those videos. They're not that popular. And I don't really get to enjoy these events or these things. So every once in a while, sporadically, side note, channel side note, I will be making these videos and, I do have them on my channel. But, these are more of the ones that I do, walks and talks. I'm going to get back to that real soon and all that good stuff, okay? But anyways, back to what I was saying. Things are just very different. And by the way, if you don't want to join in, they'll respect you for not wanting to join in. They don't care. You know what I mean? It's all good. But the reality is that like out here, things are just different. If you're going to be that neighbor that's not going to participate and not going to, like that they're throwing a block party, then don't come out here, okay? Because things like that do happen on a regular basis. And there's nothing you can do. You can't call the cops. You can't call anyone. There's nothing you can do. Remember, the freedom thing, okay? So you might as well you can't beat them, you might as well join them. But hey, if you're already like a party animal, you enjoy life, you want to be part of the community, yada, 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 hey, like again, when they came to us with that, we were just, how can we help? What can we do? Let's get this going. You know what I mean? Yada, yada, yada. So, I'm very excited for that. So is Christian. And it's really cool because at least in this region of Mexico, a lot of the foreigners that are coming here are from other parts of Mexico. So in my neighborhood, there's a lot of Mexicans that are not from here, that are from other parts of Mexico, plus other foreigners, and I can go on and on, you know what I mean? But just a lot of people that are not Yucatecan, not from Merida per se. There are people from here. But what I'm saying is that they're bringing their customs. And this is a major Mexican custom. And so, we were all very excited, especially Christian. She's like, wow, I've never been to one of these. We've never really had one of these before. And this is super typical in the rest of Mexico. So there's a lot of awesomeness that is coming from, again, we're going to be talking about this in a future episode, about the gentrification that's happening here in other parts of Mexico. And I can go on and on. And again, it's not just the people like you and me watching these videos, all right? No. All right, it's other Mexicans that are doing the gentrification, other people from other parts of the world, other foreigners. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned for that. For these conversations that we like to talk about and like to make videos on out here that are very important to you. Again, yes, you know what I mean. Like I know a lot of you guys want to know what the best taco in the city is, but I feel like these are more important topics to really discuss and cover, and somebody else can talk about the best taco. So that way, they can tell me about it so I can go when I go visit. Anyways, all right, moving on to the next thing. There might be a problem All right, they might create problems for a lot of foreigners when they come out here. And this is something that I, unfortunately, had a little bit of, this pertained to me. And it might pertain to you. I think it pertains to just about everybody. You get a little homesick. And it's not just, again, in my case, for people that know my story, I'm not necessarily missing the USA, everything that's going on over there right now. I'm not missing that, but I miss the food. I miss my family and friends. There's a bunch of things that I do miss, and mainly the food I miss, all right? And, it's just one of those things that it's very hard to replicate. But you do realize now, once you're out here, why so many foreigners, when they go to whatever country, again, USA, Canada, whatever, and they bring their, customs and their whatever, a lot of it is food, because that's what they miss the most from back home, wherever you're from. Okay, so wherever you're from, that's one thing you're going to miss the most, the food. And there's a lot of things you're going to miss, like, again, it might be festivals, it might be local things. And again, there's a lot of things you're going to miss and you're going to get homesick for, And again, depending on who you are, it might be too much to bear and you just have to go back home. For me, it's not that big of a deal. Again, it's the only thing I truly miss is the food. Family comes to visit me out here. I'm sure from the footage that you've already been watching recently where I've been hanging out in the north, you've also seen that I'm missing anything. When it comes to that, like it's exactly like it was back home. That's why I choose to live where I live, so that I really do feel like I'm somewhere different. But I could go on and on. Really what I miss is the food. But for a lot of you guys, it's a lot of things that you miss. You know what I mean? And that might be just enough to break your back, to the point where you have to go back and stuff like that. So, another thing, that's very important that, a lot of people struggle with when they come out here is, and then now I don't struggle with this at all. And I know a lot of you guys might not struggle with this, but there's a lot of people that do struggle with this. And it's a very important topic that I don't think anyone's talking about. But I really got to bring it up because it's very important. And it's the circles. What do I mean by circles? The social circles, the cool kids club, the lake, what is it? Like the Lake Bonavista, social club, what is it? Phase 2. You guys ever watch Seinfeld? I know I messed it up totally. But you remember that Seinfeld episode when they went, down to visit the parents down in Florida, and, again, they're all retired, but they were all, fighting for social rank. And so a lot of people, when they come out here, again, new start, new beginnings, new everything. And part of that new everything is the small expat group that you might belong to, all right? The small expat enclaves that are out here. And since everything is just smaller, then all of a sudden, and you're not really mingling with the rest of the Mexican culture, the Mexicans, then all of a sudden you feel very pressured to, fit into these groups and fit into these, expat, enclaves and just fit in. And some of you guys struggle with just fitting in. And again, saying the right thing, saying the wrong thing, right or wrong, whatever, how you comport yourself, how you don't comport yourself, just so many things, again, in order to fit in. Others, struggle with trying to be the top dog. Hey, I want to be the, the president of the whatever. I want to be the president of the, Merida, Mexico, or the Guadalajara, or the Mexico City, a book club, or whatever it is, all right? Or whatever group, and yada, yada, yada. And with all that, whatever, enclave you're part of and whatever country you're coming from, it's also going to get deeper. It might get into politics, There's a lot of people that come from certain countries which politics are very volatile. I mean, whatever, what country doesn't have volatile politics all the time? But anyways, well, you know who I'm talking about out there. And then depending on, the group that you're trying to fit into, you need to, again, say a certain thing, act a certain way, do a certain whatever. And so that is a major thing for a lot of people when they come out here and they cannot deal with that. Now, again, for me, I never wanted to be part of a clique. I never been part of any of that. And to me, it never even occurred to me until I moved out here. And then I saw how things were run. And I'm like, oh my God. And again, I would love to say that it's all just, a certain age group, an older age group or retired age group. And it tends to kind of skew more that direction. But the reality is like everyone out here, no matter what your age. But again, the older you are, the more likely, that you're going to be dealing with this problem than anyone else. But that is a major problem. With the young people, I don't think so much, because again, the young people are just easier to assimilate. It's easier to just blend in and mix in with the culture. Mexico is one of the youngest countries in the world, literally. I think the average age of a Mexican is like 28, 30 something, like in that range, 28 to 32. Like very young. So if you're in that age range, a few years plus or minus, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? And especially if you, again, learn Spanish and learn the customs and you embrace Mexico or whatever country you're in, but we're talking about Mexico here, you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. But the older you get, the harder it is to really embrace all that. And again, not for everybody. There's a lot of you guys out there that come out here and, oh my God, you know what I mean? You guys are Mexico's #1 fan. And Mexicans love that. That's awesome. That's great. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? Again, the average person watching these videos these days and trying to move to Mexico these days is just your average Joe or Jane. And they're just, trying to start over by themselves, with their partner, with a family, whatever. And a lot of that is not just the Spanish, the blending in with the culture, the assimilating, with how things are out here, but the social groups. And a lot of you guys struggle with that, where you cannot find your tribe. Now, again, for me, this is a little different. I've always been a lone wolf, and a lot of times when I'm part of a group, I'm usually the leader of the group, and I'm leading the pack. Again, the wolf thing. But as you guys already know, I got a lot of followers, a lot of subscribers. Again, don't forget. But, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, this is not really my thing. I've never really had to deal with this, for the most part. Maybe when I was younger, very young, but not, 20 years as I've been, have to deal with something like this. But a lot of people have, this is something that they will continuously struggle with. And again, they'll probably struggle with it. Doesn't matter what group they're in. They might be out here and they learn Spanish, are into the Mexicans' culture, customs, whatever. They're blending in with the Mexicans. But then the social norms, that comes with them and dealing with them. So it can vary, It doesn't just have to be within your own group or expat enclave. It can even happen, you're feeling too pressured to be Mexican. Again, I don't really know what that is. I'm just me. I've always been me. And it's cool because there's a few places where I've lived in the world. In the USA, this is the only place in the world where I've lived, Mexico. But in the USA, I've lived in a lot of places. And I've struggled with this a few places, but not everywhere. For example, Seattle, it wasn't so cool that I was a chef. There was a lot of chefs up there. And definitely not cool that I'm a Cuban from Miami, loud, proud, whatever. So, whatever. That didn't. But when I went to LA, oh my God, everybody loved me. And again, it's just, that's what I mean, depending on where I was. And so here, same thing. They love me. They love that I'm Cuban. They love that I do YouTube videos. They love that I cook. And I do cooking videos and I do all of that stuff. They love all the things that I do. So with that being said, it's been very easy for me to transition. And again, I don't really fit into any group, and I'm never trying to fit into any group. I just fit into all the groups. How's that? All right, for most part. But there's a lot of people out there in this city and out there in Mexico, other expats that hate me and hate everything I do, for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into that. That's their problem, not mine. I really don't give a crap. But yes, there's a lot of people out there that don't like what I do, what I represent, with the videos that I make, the people I'm trying to reach, how I try to help people, and I can go on and on. It's just a weird world that we're living in, but, it is what it is, as a great man once said. And so now moving on to the next thing, another thing that a lot of people have kind of trouble with, struggle with when they're out here is the fact that, they want everything to be the same. Again, a lot of people out there like me, some of you guys out there, a lot of you guys that I've met, you guys are adventurers. You guys are up for, the challenge. You guys can't wait to, move to another country, do something different, experience new things. I could go on and on. But a lot of people, they don't want any of that. Again, they just kind of like want to go somewhere where they can pay rent, afford to live, and just go on with their life, all right? It is what it is. It's just truth. Not everybody is super, extroverted, ambitious, and all that good stuff. So, with that being said, they come out here and they struggle with that. They struggle with the fact that, they're all of a sudden now going to be kind of forced to be a bit of a homebody because they don't want to go out, they don't want to experience things, they don't know the language, and all these things just start, like piling up to the point where you don't even want to leave your home. And you order in a lot of things. Again, out here in Mexico, you can afford to order in on your phone many, many, many things, and you can just never leave your home if you don't want to. And I get some people, they are perfectly fine living like that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, I'm a bit of a homebody myself, and I totally get that. But the reality is that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, because they all of a sudden become very reclusive, and they don't want to be reclusive, and it's just a struggle. So that's something that a lot of people have to deal with out there. Another thing that a lot of people deal with, that's very difficult, is the fact that, again, depending on who you are, I've talked about this many times. For me, for example, I've always been pretty frugal. I've always been, cost effective. I've always lived within my means. It's never really been too much of a problem because I've been poor most of my life. But even when I was making money and had a lot of money many times over, I was still very frugal. And again, I would just use a lot of that money to, for experiences, to live life, to start businesses, to invest in myself. I can go on and on, all right? But at the end of the day, for me, I've never been about that fancy lifestyle. I've never been about keeping up with the Jeffersons or, living on the east side or any of that stuff, On the contrary, I've always wanted to just live life and enjoy life as much as possible. So, but anyways, with that being said, a lot of people, they struggle because they come out here and all of a sudden they want to recreate the life that they had out back home, or they want to live a way better life than they had back home, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you can afford it. If you can afford it, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people, they cannot afford it. They come out here and they want to live exactly the same as they lived in the USA or Canada or wherever they were in Europe. And they realize very quickly, oh my God, things are just as expensive. Oh my God, all these YouTubers lied to me because they said things were cheap out here and they weren't. Well, the thing is that they are extremely cheap, but if you want to live a certain lifestyle, a lot of these very expensive things are expensive everywhere, and it's the same price everywhere for these things. Now, for your basic necessities, rent, food, water, internet, cell phone, I can go on and on. Everything is crazy cheap. Healthcare, crazy cheap. But if you want the iPhone 14, it's going to be just as expensive or more expensive. You want the new, Samsung whatever, it's going to be just as expensive or more expensive. You want the new anything. Again, I had to get a new GoPro recently, remember? Okay, the footage you're watching right now, on this new GoPro, and it wasn't cheap. Okay, in fact, in order for me to get it, just the regular expensive price, because it just came out, I had to ask a friend to bring it to me from the USA. All right, and to help me avoid certain. I don't want to get into it. I'm on camera here.
Bruh.
But you know what I mean? Make it cheaper because of taxes and then customs and this and that. All right, just the little legal loophole that you can just get over, so that I can bring this and not have to pay exorbitant amount of taxes on it, okay? And customs fees, and I can go on and on. But I digress. Speaking of which, if you like a lot of my catchphrases, you want to support the show, don't forget to click on the links below, buy a t-shirt, leave $1, leave $5 if any of this information has been useful to you, any of this information has brought you value, and you want to give back to the show, you want to make sure I can help others, okay, continue doing this, all right, you want to help me, help you, help me, help others, by continuing to support the show. You already know what to do. All the links are down below. But as I was saying, guys, a lot of people can't afford, to move out here because they want to live a very fancy lifestyle, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute, a BMW costs the same here as it does back home. An iPhone 14 or whatever it is, but a lot of people that just are not about that fancy lifestyle, okay, or care about those things, and you'll be totally fine out here, and you'll see that you'll be able to live on around $1,000, $1,500 a month. No problems, all right? And live like a king or queen or whatever you are. But at the end of the day, Again, if that's something that you want to just keep living that fancy lifestyle, you might just well stay home where you're at, because where you're at, you'll be able to make more money. All right, and things will be easier to access in that sense, and then you'll just be able to keep continuing to live that certain lifestyle. Like, for example, I got family members that will never ever come out here because they got great jobs. They got great everything, and they're great. Everything's great. I don't need to come out here, no problem. But there's a lot of people that don't fit that category, and that's why you're watching this video. You're still watching this video. So therefore, again, don't forget that. If you come out here to just live, all right, whatever, just your regular life, you'll be fine. You'll be totally fine. Life is going to be so awesome, all right? You're going to really enjoy it. But if you're coming out here and you're expecting something completely different, meaning, you're coming out here and you want to just, live it up, and not expect for things to be expensive, then you're going to be slightly disappointed, or very disappointed. But again, if you have an online job or online gig or online business and you're making a lot of money, you're doing very well, and all you're looking for is to move somewhere, okay, where you can live exactly the same as you were living, no problem, right? But maybe save on taxes, maybe, again, because if you have a business, or perhaps, again, you want to save because you can afford a lot more for your money out here, get a fancier house, apartment, wherever, live in fancy schmancy neighborhoods out here, where back home you're just basically living in the regular neighborhood, but out here, and I can go on and on. You can afford your BMW. I can, all these things. And yeah, go for it. Please bring it. Bring all that money. Bring all that influence. A lot of Mexicans, a lot of Mexico is embracing you with open arms, and they can't wait for you to come out here and spread your wealth, literally. Okay. So, but for everyone else, they want you here as well, but. Again, we talked about this in other videos. You guys can check those out after this video. But at the end of the day, guys, there's a lot of struggles out there that a lot of people have, when they come to Mexico, or any country, but Mexico in particular here. And they need to be addressed. That's why we made today's video. But a lot of these things can be avoided. Again, outside of you missing food or missing certain things, everything else can be avoided. For example, I can watch all of my favorite TV shows. I can watch, my American football. I can do every single thing that I did back home here. No problem. There's absolutely nothing that I cannot do here that I can't do back home. You know what I mean? Like, everything I can do back home, I can do here. Everything. Except for one thing. I'm American, and yeah, we cannot just have guns and shoot guns and all that, but that's another episode for another day. But at the end of the day, if you really want that, you can have it out here as well. It's just a lot more difficult, okay? But long story short, outside of that, you can still defend yourself, and there's still ways, so don't worry. I got plenty of ways to defend myself. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's basically nothing at all that I truly miss from at least my situation, my country, where I'm from. But again, I don't know who you are out there, and I don't know what your culture is. I don't know where you come from. I don't know your background. I don't know anything about you at all. Even though you might know me and you think you know me, and you know a lot more about me because I'm here telling you about me. I don't know anything about you, all right? I have no idea who you are, even though I'm talking to you right now. As weird as this thing is here. I'm trying not to break the internet here and break the fourth wall. But I'm talking to you here right now. At the end of the day, if you have a similar background to me, you'll be fine. Meaning that you've had a hard life and struggled your whole life and made it out alive, and you've been through a lot of things and yada, yada. You'll be fine. You'll love it out here. If you speak Spanish, you'll love it out here. If you're from a Spanish-speaking country, Latin American country, or come with any of that, you'll love it out here. And I can go on and on. But if there's a lot of things that you're just going to end up missing, you got to be 100% honest with yourself, okay? Don't take that lightly. Don't take it lightly, because remember, this is a big move. A lot of you guys are not just watching this video, to see what's out there. A lot of you guys are really, really considering moving, leaving forever. And you got to remember, it's not easy, okay? Remember, okay? Especially if you're from the USA, Canada, where there's a lot of other immigrants around. I don't know, other countries out there with a lot of immigrants. But if you have experience, or at least, immigrants and their lifestyle or their life, or anything like that, well, you're going to be an immigrant now. Okay? And a lot of people are just not prepared mentally for that. You know, that you're moving out here and now you're the immigrant. Literally, everything that comes with that. Okay? And however the hell you think, you know, immigrants are treated where you're from, it's going to happen here to you. And that's going to also be a little bit of a, what the hell? It's going to be very difficult, you know what I mean, for you to handle, depending on who you are. You know, for me, I've always been the immigrant, you know what I mean, even in the USA, you know, so that's never really been a problem, you know. Again, I came out here, it's fine, you know, so I don't, you know, whatever. But for a lot of you guys, you don't know what that is. You have no idea what being an immigrant really is. You know, you've never, you know, you're the closest you come to being an immigrant is, you know, your great-great-grandpa or your great-great whatever, and they probably were the immigrant to where you're from, but you probably have been where you have been, okay, for generations. Not everybody, okay? But that's another thing too, you know, that's very, you know, 100% true. You know, if you come from a certain place with very strong roots, it's going to be very difficult to move. And again, you see this all the time. That's why I tell you, you know what I mean? In fact, I'm telling you again, you know, please, you know, if you're really considering moving out here, hang out with other immigrants where you're from, okay? And see what's up with that, what they struggle with, you know, what they're dealing with. And I can go on and on, okay? Because it's going to be a lot of the same. You're going to be dealing with a lot of the same. And most of the time, you'll be able to deal with it. Most of the time, you'll find a solution. Most of the time, you'll be a million times happier here or wherever you move to than wherever the hell you came from. Okay? But the way to really truly be happy, okay, is that you got to be able to mitigate a lot of these struggles. And there's so many more struggles that I haven't even discussed yet, okay? Because I got to end this video. How much longer can I go? No, but honestly, I mean, seriously, you know, there's so many more struggles, you know, and in fact, I'm going to now call to you guys. If you guys are living out here or thinking about moving out here and there's struggles, okay, struggles out there that you are dealing with, think you're going to be dealing with, you know, real struggles that are going to be a part of, you know, this whole move, that are probably a part of your thing right now, please share with us down below in the comments. You know, we all want to, you know about it, and we all want to learn from it, and we all want to share, you know, each other's, you know, experiences. Why do we want to do this? Because it's going to help us be better. Okay, it's going to help us be, you know, a better immigrant. It's going to help us, you know, again, deal with our situation or our struggles even better. Okay, again, you can help others, all right, and so on and so forth, and feel better about yourself. This ain't a motivational video, but you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, share. Because, by the way, the comments also help. You know, whenever you leave a comment, they help tremendously. Sharing, okay, these videos, leaving a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Just do it, please. You know, come on. You're watching this video. It's already 30 minutes in and you haven't subscribed. What's going on with you? Anyways, you already know the deal, guys. I'm going to end this video here because that's it. We're done. So, guys, if you like this kind of video, all right, meaning, you know, these topics, let me know down below. If you have a struggle that you want to share, down below, let me know in the comment section. If there's a struggle that you might think, you know, could be something that could come about and you're not sure, believe me, just let's talk below. Let's all help each other out. Talk below. That's what the comment section is for. And the Facebook groups. Don't forget, I got Facebook groups. Join the Facebook groups. There's a lot of Mexico Facebook groups out there. Join those. Yada, yada, yada. Anyways, all right, guys, that's it. Time to go. I got Seinfeld on my mind today for whatever reason. All right, guys, you know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon. But more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.